Hey all, here are OS Reviews. Today we're taking a closer look at the Edifier NB2 Pro. These are TWS wireless buds that sell for under $80, but are packing fairly flagship level specs, including built-in active noise cancellation, as well as a companion application from Edifier that you can use to further tweak and control different things. They have a fairly striking design, comes in two colors. This is the Ivory edition, also comes in a black version, very sharp angular looks, and even has won a Red Dot Award in 2021. The active noise cancellation claims to suppress up to 38 decibels, which is fairly competitive with other models we've seen. And then battery life with ANC off with the case gets you around 32 hours. These are IP54, so they can also withstand rain and sweat, and they should still survive. They even have a dedicated gaming mode for low latency. You can also use them for watching videos, as well as a spatial audio mode that is really interesting. It creates almost this surround sound effect. In terms of audio codecs, it supports SBC and AAC. Maybe this is the only spec that is not as competitive with some of the more flagship pairs from Sony or Sennheiser, is it doesn't have Qualcomm aptX. The buds, which will last up to 9 hours when removed from the case, is also pretty long lasting, along with having intelligent autoplay and pause sensors, just like the AirPods, so they can detect if you're wearing them or not, and when you pop them out, the music can automatically pause. It relies on touch controls, which can do things like play, pause, skip tracks, go through the different ANC modes, although because of these different modes, it is lacking the ability to change the volume higher or lower by default directly on them. Even the box has this magnetic lid that will open up if you apply a little bit of force. And on the top compartment, you'll find the accessories, which are inclusive of the Type-C charging cable, along with some spare silicone tips to get a more snug fit. There is also a included carrying pouch, which is fabric and has the Edifier logo. It's a nice little bonus. Again, we don't usually see. And we also have just the array of user manuals. So taking a closer look at the design of the battery case, it also has a attractive kind of synthetic leather texture on top of it, which means that it's not completely matte. It actually feels quite good, grippy, and doesn't attract fingerprints easily either, even though it's still relatively lightweight because of the primarily plastic build, but feels quite solid. And we do have the Type-C port there for charging, a status LED, and that's it. So very simple design. Popping it open, the lid here has a sensor that can detect when it's being opened up, and we can see that they will automatically start to connect with your phone or device. And overall, it is again looking quite attractive in terms of the design. We have a LED in the front here along with a reset button, and then the buds are held into place magnetically. They can be easily popped in and quickly charged up. Otherwise, taking a closer look at the buds, as aforementioned, they do have a auto detection sensor located on the edge here, which is using infrared, that is going to know if you're wearing them or not. And then we also have access to 4 microphones built on in for the noise cancellation as well as for making calls. And then the stem area here is touch sensitive. It is actually pretty responsive in my testing so far. And one thing I really like about these is they make a subtle sound whenever you're pressing on them. It's a soft click that gives you confirmation. Here they are next to the regular Apple AirPods. So the casing is going to be a little bit larger, but not by too much. It's still easy enough to put into a pocket. And then here are the AirPods themselves next to the buds that we have here on the left, and we can see the stem here is a little bit shorter. Overall weight is comparable, made out of similar materials. A closer look at the companion app, which is called Edifier Connect. From here, we're able to see the battery percentage on the left and right sides, as well as if we have the active noise cancellation mode on, or if we have the ambient mode turned on. So this is going to be kind of reverse or transparency mode that magnifies the noise around you, so you can have a conversation and hear people without even popping them out. You can even control the volume level of the overall effect. So if you want to further boost up the ambient mode, you can actually push it up to 3, or you can turn it down lower to a level that you feel most comfortable with. Same thing goes with the active noise cancellation. The intensity of ANC can also be adjusted using the slider in the app, which is actually pretty interesting and does make a bit of a difference. Now under the second tab over, you're also able to change some of the preset effects, so either the standard music mode or going into the spatial audio mode or the low latency gaming mode. So talking briefly about the difference between these three, I would say that the spatial audio mode is arguably the one that had the biggest impact on me when I was listening to some music, as well as playing back some games with it. It made trebles as well as vocals more prominent, almost like a person was speaking closer to your ear, and then everything just became a little bit more dynamic and well separated. So things like drum beats, you can almost hear them as they're being played on different areas on the left, the right side, getting closer to you, getting further away, and I was surprised at how well it did in terms of creating that sense of separation and depth. So I actually found myself just usually wanting to leave this mode on and exploring music with it, even though it might not be to everyone's preferences, but it is really fun to try. And then standard music mode, it works well. We'll talk more about the pure audio quality later in this video. And then gaming mode, of course, it will slightly decrease the audio resolution, so some details might be slightly lost, but you will get the fastest connection speed, and it will work well even if you're playing back an action game or watching a film. Everything will be synced together really well. And then finally, over here, we can also tap on the settings bar to further tweak things like take a look at if you want to turn on or off the sound effects that I was talking about. The tap sensitivity of the controls can also be tweaked if you want it to be more sensitive or less sensitive, as well as even a timed shutdown. So let's say you want to turn the buds off after, let's say, an hour or an hour and 30 minutes. That all shows some pretty good attention to detail, and it's very easy to use. Now, one feature that is missing from the app at the moment, however, is the ability to remap the touch controls. So again, everything in terms of tapping to play and pause, skip tracks, has been preset and can't be further adjusted if you want to flip the order. Moving into the audio quality of the buds themselves, I have to say I am really impressed because these get close to being audiophile grade. In fact, when I was comparing them with the Mifo 07s, which is, again, my current driver in terms of being wireless buds that sound awesome, they have dual driver units on them, these also come extremely close in terms of detail and just packing a very balanced and dynamic sound. Not only will you find really satisfying bass, so there's a lot of punch in the lower frequency, but it's not muddy at all, but at the same time, vocals in the trebles and mids still shine through with plenty of texture. It doesn't sound distorted, everything sounds really lively and almost like you're in that live environment. You get lots of details which are discernible, especially if you're comparing them with other wireless buds in the similar price range. So impressive in terms of the tuning of the drivers. I think Edifier have done a very good job here. It shines for almost every genre that I tried it with, including pop music, rock music, EDM, all sounded just really satisfying, and these were fun to listen to, I have to say, even for hours and hours, which is not really the case for every pair of buds I've tried. Active noise cancellation was also quite good. It made a difference for sure when being flicked on, especially if you're in a noisier environment that has fans or engine sounds. If you're in a car, it almost gets completely reduced. Arguably still a touch beneath what Sony's or Bose's TWS buds can do in terms of the pure active noise cancellation effectiveness. Those do tend to be even more strong, but these already do quite well for, again, the price point. So that's more or less it as far as our quick hands-on review of Edifier's TWS buds, the NB2 Pros. Really surprisingly good sound quality at this price, as well as the effective active noise cancellation make these a very solid pair that's hard to beat at this price. So if you're looking for a, again, almost premium experience, but at a fairly affordable and competitive price, this is definitely worth a closer look. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That's been the NB2 Pros from Edifier.